Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Good afternoon to you. It is Thursday. It is February 4th of 2021, and we are here to talk about the New Orleans Saints. And before I did for the civil rights movement back in 1955. She refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on a Montgomery bus, and she was one of the people that ushered in the Montgomery bus boycott. So want to remember Ms. Rosa Parks and her contributions to history. Before I even get started on that, happy birthday to a legend, Rosa Parks. But right now, we're going to go ahead and talk about New Orleans Saints, man. We're going to talk about what people want to talk about here, and that is Jameis Winston, right? They want to talk about Jameis Winston. And, the thing about it is the question on everybody's mind is Jameis Winston the successor to Drew Brees, right? Is he the successor to Drew Brees? Is he the guy that is going to replace Drew Brees? It seems like head coach Sean Payton believes that he is, all right? He believes that he is. And even though Jameis Winston is not on the books right now, he is a unrestricted free agent. I mean, Sean Payton yesterday, he made no qualms about it. He wants Jameis Winston back in the Saints uniform. That is what he wants. And I'm having this show today, Who Dat Nation, because it's time for all those people that are on the fence about Jameis Winston to have their come to Jesus meeting. That's right. To have their come to Jesus meeting and understand and just come to grips with the fact that he is going to be the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints and not Taysom Hill. All right. And I completely understand that. I've been writing about Taysom Hill for the last couple of days. I've been posting different things, my opinion about Taysom Hill, and I get it, right? We all understand what Taysom Hill brings to the table. He's an extremely talented football player. I mean, he's a guy that leaves it all on the field every Sunday, whether he's making a mistake or making a play. But, I mean, if you're looking at two guys that you look for to lead your franchise, one of the guys have the arm strength to do so. He just has to correct some mistakes. And then you have another guy who is unproven, and when he got an opportunity, he didn't knock anybody's socks off. So I just feel like we just need to come to grips that Taysom Hill is going to be, as long as he's in the National Football League, he can come in, probably play some mop-up duty, make some plays. But for the most part, he is going to be in that Swiss Army role. And Jameis Winston is the guy that Sean Payton looks at to lead the team and hopefully do some good things for the Saints going forward. So what about this whole situation? Why is it that, I'm so sure about the whole Jameis Winston thing? I've told everybody before then. I told you way before I'm telling you right now. When I watched that Huddle and Flow podcast with Steve Weiss and Jim Trotter, when I seen Sean Payton talking about Jameis Winston, he talked about Jameis Winston. It's almost like having that good kid, right? You got one kid, you love all your kids, right? But you got that one kid that makes you proud, always coming home with the A's and the B's and always making his bed, always doing his chores. And then you got that one kid that you love, but might give you a little bit of a harder time, right? You might find yourself talking a little longer about that kid that making them A's and doing the things the right way, and you'll still talk about that other kid, but you'll be like, yeah, I love him. And that's the way that Sean Payton was talking about with Jameis Winston. I mean, he talked about Jameis Winston, about the promise that he has, the skill set that he has, just the upside that he has. And when he talked about Taysom, you're like, well, he has a lot of talent. It is what it is, folks. And then yesterday, he talked about Jameis Winston once again, spent a longer period of time on Jameis, and probably spent about a minute or two talking about Taysom Hill. I mean, and it was basically like borderline, well, he's on our roster. So the writing is on the wall. The Saints are going to try to do everything they can to try to get Jameis back in the Saints uniform, and they're going to try to see if they can actually win some games with Jameis. And look, there's a lot of people out there that are on the fence about Jameis because what he did last time we saw him in Tampa, throwing all those interceptions, I think it was 35 total turnovers, and we all know that's how we do things. The last image that we have of a person, that was what we hold near and dear to us. We did it back in 2018 in Week 17 with Teddy Bridgewater when he came in mop-up duty, when the Saints pretty much had the number 1 seed sold up. They had 2 offensive line that came out the street, and Teddy Bridgewater started in that game, and he looked bad. And everybody was like, well, nah, he ain't it, right? And the last moments and the last image that we had of Jameis Winston was him throwing a whole bunch of interceptions. But, guys can change. Guys can change their circumstances and become better. I mean, one quarterback in particular I'm just thinking of right out my head is Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill in Miami was awful. Ryan Tannehill in Miami was a guy that you raised the eyebrow and wonder, does he even need to be in the National Football League? And I believe that Jameis Winston is better than Ryan Tannehill. I really do. I just think that it's all about the circumstance. It's about where you at. It's about the type of coach that you have. It's about the type of coordinator that you have that puts you in position to succeed. So I think that everybody out there that is holding those 30 interceptions against him, I think that you need to just step back and look at the situation out there in Tampa. Shouts out to Mike Moscone, man, because, he hit the nail on the head. The guy, you probably know him after Further Review. Check him out on YouTube. He hit the nail on the head, man. And it's normally, I try to stay away from, other takes and stuff like that. But he hit the nail on the head. He basically said that Jameis Winston went to a situation where, his team was like dead last in point, in points, dead last when it comes to rushing the football, dead last from offensive line play. Just all the circumstances that were going on in Tampa. It was hurting Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston had to pick up the pieces. And then he also broke down about how we look at quarterbacks and we talk about guys being turnover machines, and he named some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and they had high rate of interceptions, and how we don't label those guys. Even a quarterback that we love to death, Drew Brees. Drew Brees had high number of interceptions. I think we tend to forget that sometimes. Drew Brees has thrown 20-plus interceptions in the Saints uniform. The only difference is, man, he was playing so well, and we ain't never seen no above-average quarterback play like that in New Orleans. We let him slide. But now we have something to compare Jameis to, and now we want to stick up our nose at quarterbacks, right? Because for 15 years, we had elite quarterback play. But once upon a time, who that nation, quarterbacks of the New Orleans Saints were not that good. And I think some of us are prisoners of the moment, and sometimes we tend to forget that. Or maybe some of us are too young to remember how bad the Saints were when it comes to the quarterback play. That's why I come in. I can tell you about the great days of the Danny Wolfels, the great days of the Billy Joe Hobers and Billy Joe Tollivers, the great days of the Heath Schuler, the great days, of the Jim Everetts. I can throw some names out there, even Aaron Brooks. I can look. Some of us become prisoners of the moment, and we take things for granted. I often say here on the State of the Saints podcast, it's almost like your family or your wife or your husband. Sometimes we take those things for granted because they're always there, right? We love them, right? I love my wife, man, but probably didn't wake up this morning and tell her that I love her before I left the house. She knows I love her, right? Oh, my kids, I didn't kiss them before they went to school, but I kiss them this evening. We have a tendency when things are right there in front of us, we take them for granted. We take them for granted. And with Drew Brees with the great quarterback play, we take it for granted, and we shouldn't. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments, man. Thank you all so much for taking a part in the State of the Saints podcast. I'm going to start with the donations here. Some socks. Thank you very much for $2. Says Taysom doesn't come close to knocking any of us off. Thank you very much for the $2 some socks. That was a good one right there. Very creative, man. And also the writing. Thank you very much for the $2. Says, I'm on the wall, y'all. Definitely. The writing is on the wall. In so many ways here with the New Orleans Saints. And thank y'all, man, for being a part of the show. Taysom ain't nothing but Inspector Gadget. A pale Cordell Stewart. Wow. Tell him how you really feel. Tell him how you really feel about him. Look, man, Taysom Hill is a good football player. He's a great athlete. He has great upside. And I find myself cheering for Taysom Hill because I like him a lot. I think he's a fire starter, and he definitely has taken a place of what Mark Ingram was to this team. Mark Ingram was in a role that Taysom Hill is in right now. Mark Ingram was that guy that comes into the game and gives that spark when it seems like they need a little something. Ironically, I can think about that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when, in the second half, the Saints came out with their hair on fire and it was handing the ball to Mark Ingram. I remember him dragging a linebacker into the end zone. I can also remember, with Taysom Hill, wild card game, right, against Minnesota Vikings, go out there, lighten it up. I mean, we were all cheering for Taysom Hill that day. We all felt like he should have stayed on the field. But once again, Taysom Hill is a good football player, but game in, game out, week in, week out, you got to be real with yourself and just say you're not going to get that type of production. It's going to be 1 week of okay play, and then it's going to be, oh, my goodness, turn your head, okay? It's going to be, man, let me see what else is on, right? It's been a long time since the networks have changed from a Saints game because the Saints games are always close. That's what you're going to be getting from Taysom Hill if he out there from time to time. Might end up switching up to the Bears in the Detroit Lions game or something. Mighty Mouse, thank you very much for the $10. Says, end of the day, it doesn't matter. If we like Jameis, we're not the coach. And if Payton sees potential in him, I stand by Payton's choice. Look, I think that we once again become prisoners of the moment, and we've become accustomed to the world of Saints football revolving around Drew Brees. And I get it, right? The dark ages of the New Orleans Saints when we were all offense and no defense, all we had was Drew Brees, right? As long as we had number 9 in the game, we were all right. But this team is so much more than Drew Brees these days, right? And like I said, we are so accustomed to we need good quarterback play because our defense won't be that good. This is a solid football team. And credit to Sean Payton for putting the right pieces in place, the right personnel in place in order for us to be a successful franchise, for us to be credible for the past 15 years. And I believe in Sean Payton. I believe in what the Saints are trying to do. I mean, other teams would have just fell by the wayside after what happened to them over the past few years. But the Saints come back every single week, every single year, going out there, putting their best foot forward and still winning double-digit games. You got to give some credit there. Scott, thank you very much for the $20. The super chat, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, man, and really do appreciate that. Thank you all for, all your donations. I really do appreciate you all, investing in the State of the Saints podcast. We got another sponsor here on the State of the Saints podcast. Coming soon, man. I just partnered up with Manscaped. On yesterday, they asked me to be one of their partners. So I'm extremely excited about that. Manscaped coming soon. I have promo codes and everything like that for y'all coming real soon. So Manscaped will be sponsoring the State of the Saints podcast. So thank you all so much for believing in me and investing your time in the State of the Saints podcast. And now we're starting to get sponsorship on the show. So thank y'all. I appreciate it. Wine, let me stay with Jerry Poor. Jerry says, who that? And I'll keep on skipping Wine. Wine says, thank you very much for the $5. Should I give up my hopes of the Saints drafting Mac Jones? I wouldn't until the draft takes place, Wine. You know, all this talk right now is just, you know, what Sean Payton wants. You never know how things can go. And just because they get Jameis Winston don't mean that they're not going to get another quarterback, because you still have to take into account if Taysom Hill is on his roster, he still is going to do a Swiss Army knife thing. He's still going to do that. So you're still going to need a backup quarterback to come in case something happens to Jameis. So who knows? They probably still draft the guy. And even though, you know, you sold on Jameis Winston, arm strength, his ability, this, that, and the third, you by no means just put all your eggs in one basket, right? I mean, we're saying we believe in Jameis, and we do. But at the same time, man, you got to make sure that you're dotting your I's and you're crossing your T's as well. I mean, we don't know for sure if he's going to come out there and he's going to ball out. And you want to make sure that you have like a backup plan, not to put all your hopes and your dreams in one guy. Congratulations on the new sponsorship, TJ. And to give a highlight of the week is Blitz the League. What's your favorite team in Blitz the Leaguer, or who you created? I don't. My favorite. Okay, first off, thank you very much for your congratulatory comments. I don't even know what Blitz the League is. Okay, you're gonna have to help me out with that one, Ramsey, because I'm not sure. Okay, you're saying give a highlight of the week is Blitz the League. Okay, so wait a minute. If we're talking about the video game, I don't know if it's a segment. Okay, Blitz the League. I remember. I think it was an arcade game, if I'm not mistaken. So if that's what we're talking about, I never played that game before. I know what it is, but I would have to say the Saints if I'm playing, if they own the game. But Ramsey, I do know what Blitz the League is. I don't know why it made it seem like it was an actual show or something. But yeah, the video game I played, I have never played before. All right, but I know what it is. Chanel says, "What up, TJ? Good evening, everybody. What's going on, Chanel?" Jerry says, "Congratulations, TJ Jones. I appreciate that, man. Thank you." Cross says, "I think the fumbling is a big issue with Taysom. Can't have him. He's a gadget player, though. Not a starting quarterback that led you to where you want to be. Yeah, he's not going to lead you to where you want. That's definitely a fact. Okay, he's not going to lead you nowhere. Okay, he can't lead. He can't lead you to water right now. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't lead you to water if he was the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a fact. All right. He has a lot of issues, man. And, you know, I read on social media on the State of the Saints podcast page from time to time. You know, I read the comments, and, you know, people have been talking about with Jameis Winston, talking about, the character and all that kind of stuff there and what he did when he was in college. Look, I understand that. You know, people have their qualms about Jameis Winston, and then they'll turn around and say stuff like, "Oh, well, Taysom Hill is such a great human being." Look, man, we not running for public office here, okay? We're not trying to be a man of the people. We're not out here shaking hands and kissing babies and trying to be the next mayor, governor, House of Representative, or a Supreme Court justice or something. Look, this is football, all right? It's about who is the best. And I think sometimes, like, we get caught up in that stuff, you know, like we have those old time values, right? You know, the guy who is the quarterback of the local team, you know, he's the guy out there passing out the hot dogs to the kids at the church picnic. He's the guy in town with his shirt tucked in his pants, and he walking into the store and saying, "Yes, sir, yes, ma'am." And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? You want your kids to have values, this, that, and the third. But look, I don't care about that type of stuff. You know, I care about if a guy can help me win a football game. We hear about this all the time, man, when we talk about some of these players, like, you know, they're hard to deal with, but, man, are they good on the field? All I care about is wins, okay? I don't care about all that politicking and shaking hands and kissing babies and, oh, look at my family. We taking pictures in order for y'all to see them on Instagram, and, oh, we such a great family, and he's a family man, and look at him. Or, you know, like, I don't care, man. I think some people, and yes, I am going to go here. I think some people may have a problem with Jameis Winston because he's a black kid. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a black man. He's a black quarterback. And there's a stigma. You know what I'm saying? There's a stigma with black quarterbacks that they're not smart, that they can't read defenses, they're not intelligent enough to dissect plays, and that's just a fact. I'm not saying everybody feels that way. Some people just look at the 30 interceptions, but I do feel like some people are using the 30 interceptions as a way of some type of underlining thoughts about Jameis Winston. Look, the fact is we live in a different time. You're going to see more African-American quarterbacks come into this league. You're looking at one dominate the league right now in Patrick Mahomes. So if you thinking like that, you got that mind frame, and I know people think like this. Like, don't play yourself. And please spare me for the people that's like, man, why it always got to be about race? Because people make it that way. That's why. They make it that way. And just because we're tired of hearing about it don't mean it don't exist, right? Just because you're tired of telling your kid, put the trash out, don't mean that we need to stop telling them put the trash out. There's an issue going on here. We see it when it comes to head coaches, and we're seeing it when it comes to quarterbacks. My advice to all those people out there that are holding that against Jameis Winston, please come into the 21st century with us. Realize that we're living in 2021 and things are changing. Period. Give that guy the same opportunity you'll give a guy who is struggling, and I've heard this before. I've heard that term, give this guy a chance. I've heard this before, whether I'm watching LSU football, rather I'm watching Alabama, rather I'm watching some other college team, rather I'm watching a pro team, give this guy a chance. But we're so quick to throw guys like Jameis Winston to the wayside because of 1 year that, was indeed an outlier. It was. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never threw 30-plus interceptions in a season before. And we all can understand that Bruce Arians, who no matter who his quarterback is, they always have a high number of interceptions. How many people have to come on this show for you all to understand that, some of you? I mean, Nick Underhill has been on the show. He said it. My guy Mark Menard was on the show a couple of days ago. He said it. Right? I mean, every show that you listen to that focuses on the Saints, they tell you the same thing. I mean, you can believe what you want to, but at that particular point, basically, you're just going to be on a hill all by yourself. I'm willing to give this guy an opportunity. And I think some people need to look within themselves and realize that there's something more going on inside of you other than Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions. Derek, thank you very much for the $5. Says, love your podcast. Hope Brees does a solid and take a pay cut so get more players in the offseason. Look, I hope Brees leave, Derek. I think it's over, man. It's over with. Done. Okay? It's over with, right? Time for him to go. Like, let's stop squeezing that, okay? We done got as much juice out of that orange as we possibly can, okay? We got as much juice out of that turnip as we possibly can, man. It is time to allow number 9 to go off into the sunset and be cheered and revered as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I even said it on social media. I said that Drew Brees probably top 5 most important player in NFL history. Taking a snake-bitten franchise like the New Orleans Saints that were a laughingstock, people wearing bags on their head, people going to Swagman's personally, just to go get a paper bag so they can put holes in it and dress them up and put them on their head because they were too embarrassed to let people know they were Saints fans. I mean, the fact that you were staying in New Orleans and you go to the Gentilly Wood Mall on a Saturday afternoon and you roll in a Foot Locker and there are more Saints jerseys on the rack than any other team. This guy brought legitimacy to this organization. The Saints were a bad organization, and you can, like I said, I don't think you can find a more important player. Top 5 at least. I mean, Jim Brown is one, right? I would put Jim Brown as one of the top players in my opinion. As one of the ones that just, change. I will also put Mean Joe Green when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. because he was that draft pick that turned that entire franchise around. You know, Drew Brees is up there, man. He is definitely one of those players that has changed an organization. As great as Tom Brady was, the New England Patriots were going to the Super Bowl without him. I mean, I remember them going to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Bears. I remember them going to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Packers. I mean, Tom Brady is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. I won't take that away from him. But saying that he changed the fortunes and changed the way people thought about New England football, nah, okay? More Super Bowls he brought there, but people had respect for New England football. They had no respect for Saints football before Drew Brees got here. That is a fact. Rather you want to, like Drew Brees these days or not, rather you're like, man, get him up out of here. Give the man his credit. He is one of the most important players that ever played, and he's definitely the greatest free agent, of all time. I will give him that. All right. Boy, TJ brought up Jim Tillerwood Mall. Brought back memories. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Jim Tillerwood Mall. Yeah, man. I mean, I spent most of my time there. I mean, I went to Carver right up the street from there. And not to mention, I used to work at Foot Action. That was my first job. Was inside the Jim Tillerwood Mall. So, yeah, man. I mean, it was an embarrassment, man, to be a Saints fan during that time. Like, nobody was rocking Saints jerseys except for Master P. Straight up, man. Master P was the only one repping the Saints, win, lose, or draw. People were embarrassed to wear Saints jerseys. People would go to the mall, get a Cowboy 49ers jersey, and rack full of Saints jerseys and starter jackets. Somebody see you with a Saints jacket on, they laughing at you. It's a fact. All right? Drew Brees made it cool to be a Saints fan. I mean, you just had this undying loyalty to the team, right? They were your hometown team, so I'm going to rep them hard. That, they were almost, there was almost that team like, I stay here, so I got to support my team. But wasn't nothing sexy about rooting for the Saints before Drew Brees got here. I mean, you had to love this team with everything you have because you were going to go through some tough times. Damien says, I remember the Gentilly Mall stayed right around the corner from it in 1991. Okay. Yeah, man, I used to catch the bus out there, the Broad bus. You know what I'm saying? Right on Chef Mentor Highway. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about if you're from New Orleans. I love Drew, but every good thing comes to an end. We have to move forward. That's a fact. We got to move forward. We got to move on. In the future, to me, it's Jameis Winston. Rather, the future is bright or it's dim. It involves Jameis Winston, in my opinion. Joe Montana helped turn the 49ers around. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That I would definitely put him out there. But here's the thing. When I think about the 49ers, right? Joe Montana is definitely one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But I look at Bill Walsh and what he did to the game. The godfather of the West Coast offense. Coming in from Stanford University, bringing a West Coast offense, and taking a quarterback kind of similar to Drew Brees. Wasn't a guy that was going to knock your socks off with the arm strength. Just was really accurate, on time with the football. But I would put Bill Walsh before Joe Montana when we're talking about changing the fortunes of a franchise. Now, it's almost like, I'm a wrestling fan, so I got to use this example, folks. It's almost like Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan, right? Did Hulk Hogan create Hulkamania? Did Vince McMahon create Hulkamania? Who created this? Who made this, who put professional wrestling on the map? Was it Vince McMahon's mind, or was it the character Terry Bollea playing the role of Hulk Hogan? Who really put the 49ers on the map? Was it Bill Walsh, West Coast offense, or was it Joe Montana, the operator of the West Coast offense? I'm not too sure, because I seen Steve Young, life outside of Joe Montana, and he had a really good career for a little while Bill Walsh was still the coach. Cross says, I don't think Brady would have the same success in the 90s era of the NFL. You can't touch guys now. Yeah, but I'm not going to, like, completely, like, just disrespect the man like that. They want to tail end of the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was part of that. He was part of that class where you can still hit a quarterback and slam him down to the ground, all right? Now, they did change the rule because of him when he tore his ACL that season and he was out, and the NFL was like, man, we need our cash cows, so we got to come up with ways to keep them upright so we can preserve them and they won't miss entire seasons. But he was a part of that group where guys can still get hit. So I'm going to give him his credit, okay? He was still going to Super Bowls when they didn't lax the rules too much. So I will give Tom Brady his credit, okay? Reggie White with the Green Bay Packers. Look at what he did with them, a big-time free agent signing at time. Brees did the same thing with the Saints. So Reggie White, Donald, I would say for the Philadelphia Eagles. I feel like him with the Philadelphia Eagles, he was way more dominant. He was a meaningful addition to the Green Bay Packers. I'll give you that. But come on, Donald. I mean, Green Bay Packers are one of the most historic franchises. Way before Reggie White got there, right? You had Bart Starr, right? You had Bart Starr, you know what I'm saying? Legendary quarterback. I mean, Vince Lombardi, the doggone trophy is named after him, for God's sakes. So, Donald, I mean, he has some big shoes to fill here, man. Like, Reggie White is incredible. Arguably the greatest defensive end, the minister of defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know, man. I mean, Green Bay had a historic they had a historic franchise before Reggie White got there. I mean, Reggie White added more to his legacy than the Green Bay Packers' legacy, in my opinion. I mean, but that's a good point, though. I mean, he's a great contributor. Is he one of the top most meaningful players in NFL history? Nah, I wouldn't say that. At his position, yeah, but to actually help a franchise, legitimize a franchise, no. Taysom will always be second or third string. He is more valuable being a multi-position player than just a quarterback. Sean said it. If he was to trade him, 31 teams will want him. That's just Sean Payton, tongue in cheek. Maybe casting his rail out there in the water, seeing if he's gonna get a nibble or a bite. I mean, of course you got to talk up this quarterback. You gotta gas him up. You can't just leave him out there and just be like, oh, I'm so in love with Jameis, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a possibility that you might not be able to sign Jameis. And if you're around this thing just walking around all in love, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed for Jameis, and it don't work out, then all of a sudden you like with Taysom, you like, well, look who come crawling back. So you got to keep his confidence high too, because you don't know how these contract negotiations go, man. You think that they might go one way and they might go a completely different way. I changed them Packers. Reggie White, thank you very much for the $2. I mean, look, he was that missing piece that got him over the hump to a Super Bowl. But like I said, I mean, that's such a historic franchise. The Green Bay Packers, like, man, it don't get more historic than that. I say the cook, because you have to add the right amount of ingredients. Yeah, that's true. You got to have the right pieces around you. The so close ain'ts. I would say they are the so close Saints, and I appreciate you watching that documentary, but look, the Saints are one of the best football teams in the NFL, and everybody can't make it to the Super Bowl. The Saints have won 49 games over the past couple of years, haven't made the Super Bowl, but for somebody to say that they're not good, that's laughable, right? They're still a good football team. I don't know exactly who your football team is. I would assume that maybe it's the Bucks, because I guess the Bucks feel like they got room to talk or something. I don't know. I don't know. Like, y'all in the Super Bowl, and congratulations to you, but don't make it seem like y'all better than the Saints. I don't feel that way. Y'all in the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl don't always tell a story. Like I often say, man, like in basketball, you got the best of 7 series, right? So if a team goes out there and they win, you got a better look at who the champion actually is. With a one and done scenario, I mean, anybody can beat anybody. All right. It's about game plans, it's about schemes. So I'll just leave it at that. True that, I remember hopping on that Louisa, coming from Carver, snatching a pair of them black and a pair of white soldiers. Oh man, them Reebok. Them soldiers, man. Yeah, man, hopping on that Louisa bus. Yeah, it's staying outside right in front of Edwards. You know, Edwards Elementary School. You know what I'm saying? Taking that Louisa, let it wrap all the way around, go through Congress, you know what I'm saying? And all that kind of stuff, you know, go by Sidney Collier. Yeah, man. Then you end up getting off the Louisa bus right by that gas station, across the street from the Athlete's Foot. Then you end up crossing the street over there to Gentilla Wood Mall. Man, I can see that in my mind. I done caught that bus a many a days. I done used a many a bus tickets going onto the Gentilla Wood Mall. And for those from New Orleans, you know what a bus ticket is. Some of you that don't know what a bus ticket is, ask one of your friends in the chat from New Orleans. Brian says, we got to move forward just like Green Bay moved on from Brad Favre. But, you know, just like with Brad Favre, they had a succession plan. They had Aaron Rodgers. So hopefully Jameis can, I ain't going to say he's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Let's not go that far. But if he can win some games and keep the Saints afloat, that'll be fine. Me too. In New Orleans, my whole family is Saints fans. Yeah, I mean, look, my whole family are Saints fans too. You know, they love the Saints. Been rocking with the Saints for I don't know how long. Ever said I disagree with you? What a surprise. You can say the same thing about Sean Payton, West Coast offense. Yeah, I mean, you can, but I don't know. I guess you can say the same thing, but I just feel like with Sean, I put it to you like this. Joe Montana wasn't putting up the type of numbers Drew Brees was putting up. He just wasn't. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you had Roger Craig, who a lot of people don't give no type of respect to. You know what I'm saying? He was that guy catching the ball out the backfield, running in between the tackles and stuff like that. The West Coast offense that the 49ers were running, different from what the Saints are doing and were doing. And Drew Brees, like I said, you know, him throwing that ball all around the yard, taking no-name guys. Like, come on, man. Like, John Taylor. All right, we're going to the 49ers. Look who Joe Montana was throwing to. I mean, you was throwing to John Taylor, right? John Taylor was pretty doggone good. Jerry Rice, even though he went to Mississippi Valley State, he still was a first-round pick. You had Dwight Clark, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, one of the best tight ends to ever play the game. Wasn't like he was just out there throwing to some riffraff out there, man. You know, with Drew Brees, I mean, this guy was throwing to a bunch of scabs, to be honest with you, undrafted free agents. I mean, who was Lance Moore? I mean, who was Robert Meacham? We knew Devery Henderson was if you was in Louisiana, right? You know who he was because he went to LSU, Bluegrass Miracle and stuff. Robert Meacham, like, I guess you knew who he was because he was in the SEC, but it was just a bunch of guys nobody really heard of. This dude put these guys on a map. These guys go anywhere else, ain't did nothing. Jerry Rice, you put Jerry Rice in most people's system, he gonna work harder than everybody else, and he gonna be the best wide receiver on the field. Doesn't hurt that you have yourself a Hall of Fame, all-world wide receiver and a whole bunch of other pieces around you. But to me, like I said, you look at Drew Brees, man, he made guys better. He made guys better around him. He made guys that didn't deserve and have nowhere, you know. I mean, they didn't deserve to be nowhere on the field in some cases. If they played for other organizations, they probably wouldn't have been on the field. Like I said, if I had to compare, there's no other player more meaningful to a franchise, than than Drew Brees is to New Orleans. Let's scroll down. Who gets credit, the cook or the ingredients? They kind of go together, right? You know what I'm saying? Like if you have the right ingredients, I mean, some people, if you pay attention to detail, you can make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the back of the packet and just go by, you know what I'm saying, what you see on the packet. If they're telling you to put 3/4 of flour in there, put 3/4 of flour. If you do it exactly, you can make it work. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I guess that's what I'm saying. But, you know, did Sean Payton help Drew Brees? Yeah. You know, because he took what his skill set was and he helped them to expand it. He took what he had and he expanded it. But, you know, I don't know, man. I just think that it takes a special type player to do what he did. You know, it take players that nobody really cared that much about or would have just walked right past or looked right past. And he made those guys legit. Joe Montana, before Joe Montana, they had Steve DeBerg, and they were terrible. I mean, the 49ers were terrible, you know, but they were terrible before Bill Walsh. You know, they were. I mean, they were a terrible franchise. They were really, really horrible. I will give you that. But like I said, I just feel like Drew Brees falls into that category. Even though the 49ers, you know, were terrible. I mean, in the 70s, at least they made the playoffs. Saints didn't make the playoffs until what, the mid to late 80s? They came into the league in 1967. Like, that's pretty horrible. What happens if Jameis signs elsewhere? Do we trade for Carr? I don't want to see Taylor as the starter. I guess you're talking about Tyrod Taylor. Well, look, the Saints are going to try to do everything they can to keep Jameis. If Jameis was smart, he will stay with the New Orleans Saints. And, you know, let's just hope they won't have to do that. But if they can't get Jameis, then I just feel like you just need to go ahead and get yourself a young quarterback. Right? If Jameis don't work out, get yourself a young quarterback. I think I already read this. Yeah, because I see the Reggie White comment. Thank you very much, One Nacho on 123 for the $9.99. He says there are definitely unknowns with Jameis. I'm excited to see the dude get his shot. I'm not going to look for a reason to be mad about it. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do. You know, a lot of people just, oh man, he ain't it. You know, and give it a chance. Like, give him opportunity in another uniform. Josh says Taysom takes better care of the football. Okay. If one guy fumbles the ball one time and the other guy fumbles the ball 2 times, like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, they both turn the ball over at an alarming rate. So they both have to fix some things. TJ, who is your referred Saints draft pick in the first? Hopefully they get a cornerback, man. Like, get a cornerback. If you sign Jameis, then get a cornerback. If you can't sign Jameis, he goes elsewhere, get a quarterback. Maybe somebody like, Jamie Newman. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody like Mac Jones. You know, somebody like that. Man, y'all tripping. Y'all really believe we can go far with Tampa Bay leftovers. Y'all believe just because Jameis is in a Saints uniform, he's going to be way better. No, I don't believe it. Well, you know, you never know. Sometimes a change of scenery is good for a guy. Sometimes a change of scenery is good. You can't just say that all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, like he's going to be better in the Saints uniform. I agree with you on that, but you just can't say that the guy is terrible and that's just the story written on him. And also, like I said, I would encourage you to go back and look at his stat line and also go look at the statistical categories of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before you start to like make your assumptions about a guy. Because that's what we do, man. We lean on with the last thing we saw, and you combine that with a bunch of congestion of shock jocks that you see, you know, guys feeding you nonsense and you believe and you run with it. You know, like, oh, man, you know, he's not a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. And they give you all these reasons why he's not a good quarterback. But what you're not paying attention to, folks, is a lot of those guys, if you see them in the street after the show and ask them the same thing or talk about the same thing they talk to you about, they wouldn't know what the heck they talking about. Why? Because most of the time, probably somebody that stayed up all night that's not them and got as much information as they possibly can and feeding it through the earpiece and they got it on a desk and they make compelling arguments. They have two-way arguments, right? If the guy that goes first, he agrees, they got an argument to disagree. If the guy agrees on the other side, they got and vice versa. So I ain't buying into it. Like, I feel like a guy can change his fortune. And it is not to a point where Jameis was just so absolutely awful that this guy can't turn his football career around. If Tannehill can do it, anything is possible. Like, seriously, if Ryan Tannehill can do it, anything is possible. I mean, Tannehill looked like slaw, right? But can we please talk about my farts, please? RB, thank you very much for the $2. Big Wick, thank you very much for the $5. Says, how much do you think Winston would ask for to stay in New Orleans? I'm going to say between $20 to $25 million. I can see the Saints giving them probably like a 2-year deal, all right? Rather it's 2-year, $40 million. Most of the money like being up front. Or, you know, so I can see them getting 2 years, $50 million. One or the other. Which, you know what I'm saying, like, to me, not too bad of a deal. More like a prove-it deal, you know, like then we can go back to the table, renegotiate your contract. So that's the way I'm looking at it. You want him to stay, but you don't want to just exhaust yourself. Tom Brady, 30-20, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Tom Brady, GOAT, 7 rings. So that's what you think the stat line going to be in the Super Bowl? Okay, nah, I guess he's talking about the divisional game. Are you? No, you're not talking about the divisional game. What was that? NFC Championship game you had 1 touchdown, 3 picks? All I know is they're in the Super Bowl, and I can't get mad at that no matter how they got there. That you cheated for. What are we talking about here? I don't know. I don't know who we're getting in free agent or who we're going to let walk. But Jared Cook got to go like tomorrow. Yeah, I think we've seen the last of him, especially since we've seen Adam Troutman emerge as a really good tight end. I'm excited to see him in year 2 with OTAs, with a mini camp. I'm excited about that. The media will tarnish a man's image and perception. Yep. That is absolutely true. That's why I don't buy into it. And, you know, just being in broadcasting and understanding how people work, you know, it just makes me want to watch them less and less, you know. Winston will come in with something to prove, a good coaching, and ball out. Well, let's just hope so. I'm amazed how ignorant fans are. Jameis has some of the best stats in NFL history for a player in his first 5 years in the league. The 2019 turnover year was an outlier. Yeah, you know, but like I said, people don't know how to analyze football. They don't know how to evaluate things. You know, sometimes, like I said, we become prisoners of the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like we get caught up in all the hoopla, and you know we don't feel like guys can change. You know what I'm saying? Like we just feel like what we actually see from a guy is who they are. But you know, you got to look at the circumstances. You know, you got to look at how the guy was positioned. You got to look at what the guy was being asked to do. You got to look at who the coordinators were. You know, who was the on the coaching staff. You gotta know these things, man. You gotta know them. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl with the right defense. Exactly. And you had Frank Wright as the offensive coordinator, you know, combined with Doug Peterson. Then you had you had Jim Schwartz as the defensive coordinator. You had the right pieces. So if you have the right pieces in place, man, you can steer a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a defensive player in the right direction. Derek says, I think Mike T would run more routes with Jameis at quarterback. Exactly. And that's another thing. That tells you everything you need to know, too. You know, like, the Saints are going to do what's best for the Saints to win football games. If they have a quarterback that's limited, a running back that's limited, a wide receiver that's limited, they're going to play to their strengths. So that's one thing that's going to help Jameis Winston. You're not going to see the New Orleans Saints ask him to do something that he's not willing to do, you know, or he can't do. They're going to ask him to do what is necessary. He's too scared of the Chiefs. As you're talking about Tom Brady there. Brees, a joke. I don't think he a joke, you know. What's a joke is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for the exception of this season. Now, that's been a joke. Like, man, make no mistake about it, Tampa. Like, y'all still got a lot more winning to go in order for y'all to even be back in the conversation of being legitimate, okay? Even the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl over the last couple of years and won it. And what have the Philadelphia Eagles done since then? Nothing. Zip, zilch, nada. So just because y'all made it, y'all in the room, don't mean y'all gonna stay long. You know how they got some people, you know, they come, you know, they come and they, you know, just greet the family, they hug them and stuff like that, and they be like, I can't stay long, you know, the car running, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to let y'all know I appreciate y'all, love y'all, you know. We don't know how long y'all gonna stay in the room. Now, you know, are y'all on the list and, you know what I'm saying, do y'all have reservations? Are y'all gonna sit down? Or y'all, you know, come here to hug the in-laws and ready to go hop in the car and go home? Only time will tell. Y'all got to do some more winning for me. For real. Y'all got to do some more winning for me to sit up here and give y'all, you know, like y'all in this thing. And I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm proud of any team that struggles fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like, when their fan base goes through so much, and all of a sudden, like, you make it to that Super Bowl, I know you feel good. I ain't got no problem with it. But I just think that anybody just sitting up here, you know, thinking that, oh, man, y'all suck. Like, I just think you're reaching, you know? I just think that you're reaching with that. Flow Music, you say he was iffy under pressure, but from 2015 to 2020, he led the league in third down conversions. Yep. Still listening, but out running errands. I appreciate that. About to wrap it up in a few minutes because I got to get ready to for my afternoon show. It's actually 2 o'clock, so go ahead and wrap this up in a minute. Brees on Brady record-wise, look it up. Brady is the best franchise in the NFL. I have to agree with you on that one. Yeah, I mean, taking a snake-bitten franchise like the Bucs to the Super Bowl in his first try. Had to block that Tom Brady fool doing too much. Done as much as the Saints in the last 20 years. That's not true. That's definitely not true. And if you believe that, then you're out your mind. Let's see. I just don't understand that. Like, I don't know. You know, you haven't been to the playoffs since 2007. Now you can't honestly sit up here and just think that just because y'all in the Super Bowl, that automatically make y'all a better franchise than the Saints over the past 13 years. Like you playing yourself. Are you going to do a mock draft, TJ? Yeah, down the line, I'm pretty sure I will. Also, going to get more qualified people to come on the show and talk about the draft for you all. That's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to do more interviews this offseason, man. Try to bring more people on the show. Try to get some more familiar faces that you all recognize on the show. I'm trying to do my due diligence, work hard to try to make the show appealing to some of those NFL scouts. Know we're going to have Mike Detillier on the show. Know he's going to be here around draft time and stuff like that, man. Probably get Ross Jackson back on the show tomorrow. Deuce Winham going to be on the show tomorrow afternoon, man. Y'all check that out. What channel is your afternoon show on? It's on 90.9 FM, WLGI. You can check it out on WLGI.org. Yeah, you'll be able to hear me. From 2 to 6 Eastern, I'm on the air. Buck fan acting like Brady won those rings with them or something. Yeah, I don't understand that. Like I said, I have no problem with them being happy. I just feel like you for you to just because you're in the Super Bowl, you haven't been to the playoffs since '07, and for you to come into like groups and be like, man, y'all suck. I just feel like that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, because let's just say y'all don't win on Sunday, right? You don't win the Super Bowl, which I feel like, I'll just go ahead and say it. I feel like they're going to win. But let's just say if they don't win, right? You don't win, what is your excuse going to be then, right? I mean, y'all going to be sitting on the couch just like us. It's going to be a failed season. All y'all going to say, well, at least we went to the Super Bowl. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can say, well, we the NFC champion. Well, we the NFC South champion. Well, we beat y'all. Well, we beat y'all twice. So, you know, I mean, that's just the way I look at it. I mean, all of it is just a complete failure if you don't win. Period. Because that's what y'all holding up against Saints fans, right? We didn't win. So if y'all don't win, then it's a failure. And, you know, I don't know. If I fall off midway through the climb and you fall off a little bit closer to the top, you know what I'm saying? We both fell off and neither one of us reached the top. So, you know, it's all failure to me. So all this stuff that you're talking, I mean, means absolutely nothing if you don't win on Sunday. Weak Tom Brady can't be GOAT if he has a losing record against guy you call trash and Tom getting crushed in the Super Bowl. Look, I'm not going to disrespect Tom Brady. Man, Tom Brady is, you know what I'm saying, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. The greatest quarterback of all time. Depends on what circle you in. The dude is legit. But at the same time, man, let's not, like, disrespect Drew Brees. Like, Drew Brees is a straight scrub out here, you know, because he's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, Drew Brees is a really great, legendary quarterback, you know, so let's not even go there. If they don't win, TJ, is that a choke? Asking for a friend. It depends on how they lose, okay? I mean, I don't know about a choke, right? Look, the thing about it is, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are like that guy who slips on a banana peel and he falls hard to the floor, and then he looks down and he sees $100 bill laying next to him. Like, they, you know what I'm saying? They just basically fell behind backwards, and y'all know what I mean by behind, into success. Like, anything else, like, if they would have beat the Redskins, the football team, and lost to us, they still would be congratulated. Like, oh, it's a successful season. Look what Tom Brady did for the Buccaneers. Anything else is just extra credit. You know what I'm saying? Just icing on the cake. Like if you was to ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, were they going to the Super Bowl, you know, at the beginning of the season, the majority of them would have said, man, we ain't going to no Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? The playoffs, maybe. So, I mean, they overachievers. So, for you to say they choke, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, because they don't really supposed to be here. Like, they're not supposed to be here. They're not supposed to be in a position that they're in. Everything else is just lanyard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's lanyard. So, I mean, with us, you know what I'm saying? Like, we choked, okay? Because the expectations are there. And we've been atop the NFC South for the last 4 years. We've been one of the winningest teams in NFL history over the past 4 years. And we haven't been to the Super Bowl. We're chokers, okay? Like, that's a choke job. Giving up a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl, that's a choke job, right? To the Falcon fans out there. These guys are just, you know, like I say, man, they just out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they lose, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. Like, nobody's going to look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and be like, you know, oh, man, they had it all. Like, they would say that if the Kansas City Chiefs lose. But, I mean, these guys are just, you know, they just there. So, I can't give them that. I can't give them that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they lose, they just lose. Because they don't supposed to be there anyway. You know what I'm saying? this success that they're receiving right now is, unwarranted, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody expected them to be in this position. That's what I said. Brees doesn't suck. He just ain't clutch. He definitely clutch. Drew Brees has like more fourth quarter victories than top 3. You know what I'm saying? And, late game, overtime. So he definitely clutch. Now, the playoffs over the last couple of years, that's another story for another day. He going to make the Bucks better, too. Okay, why are you on a Saints podcast? Because I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm good, man. I'm that guy. Okay? Man, the show is so interesting. Everybody wants to watch the State of the Saints podcast. And no, I'm not being a narcissist, man. I just think that we make the show more interactive. It's an interactive show. How many shows do you think a Buccaneers fan or a Falcon fan or a Panthers fan can go on to the rival team and get this much attention? You know what I'm saying? And be a part of the show. This is a fun show. We have created a fun show. And that's just the thing, Who That Nation. We have to take the good with the bad sometimes. When the show is exciting, when, people can come in and interact, and be one of the co-hosts like you all are, it makes it exciting. So I have no problem with that. If Drew wasn't clutch, we wouldn't have won a Super Bowl. He just old, bruh. The ride is over. I agree with that. Don't feed the troll. Kenneth, make a shirt. Make a shirt that says that, my friend. I think you will make a lot of money. I'm giving you the game right now. I don't know if somebody licensed that. I never heard it. But Kenneth, you might want to make some T-shirts out of that. I think you'll make a lot of money. The best show. Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that, man. Try to make this show exciting. I love doing this show, man. It's fun. Trust me, TJ, you're the only podcast I watched the first time I watched your show. I was stuck. No knock on other podcasts. Look, I like all other podcasts. I listen to them. But everybody that looks at this show, they tell me it's how I'm just one person behind the mic talking, and how I can just make this show, as eventful as it is, man. But I always tell people, this is the most interactive podcast, because even though I'm in front of the camera, I have so many co-hosts, right? I don't know what direction this show is going to go in. What's the topic of today, right? Jameis Winston is the future of the New Orleans Saints, and Taysom Hill is not, right? And we talk about that. That becomes the topic of conversation, and then people start asking questions and making comments, and the show takes on a life of its own. So, it's exciting. I really do not know what direction this show is going to go in from show to show. I don't have a script. I don't walk into here and have an opening statement written down. Everything that I do is off the dome. Everything I do is off the dome. And it's impossible to have a show that's scripted, because I don't know what you all are going to write. I don't know what you all are going to say. So it's an exciting show. Right? We want that white hoodie, TJ. Man, I'm trying to work on it right now. Like I said, shouts out to my cousin DJ. I'm trying to collab with him. Which I'm just trying to, look, I don't want to do anything that just unorganized, right? I want to make sure that when I'm giving you things, I want it to be quality. I want to make sure that I can give it to you on time, and it's to your liking. So I don't want to just be pushing out things because I'm not driven like that, right? So all I'm asking people to do is bear with me right now. I got my hoodies and designs attached to custom ink, where you can actually order them online and they'll ship them to you. So if you want information about that, feel free to inbox me at the end of the show, and I'll give you the link and you can order one there. But that's definitely not going to be a permanent thing. Tim, thank you very much for the $5. Says still waiting for the Caroline Gonzalez interview. Who that? Yeah, Caroline Gonzalez. I tried to reach out to her, but I mean, she's been extremely busy on the Saints.com, and also I think she works for WDSU down in New Orleans as well. So hopefully she can get on the show. And I don't know if some guys are creeps, and I feel bad though, because sometimes when I reach out to people to ask them to be on the podcast, they sometimes, I don't know if they just think I'm, trying to be creepy or something like that. Because, there are some like beautiful, attractive women, you know what I'm saying, like that do sports. And, they got creeps out here, man. I want you to be on the show, you know what I'm saying? But they on some old creeper type stuff. Look, I just want you to be on the show, talk sports. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully, you know what I'm saying, like, maybe I can reach out to JD, and maybe JD can kind of pass her a message, because, JD has been on the show before. And since they work together, maybe he can kind of, talk to her. I'm going to try to also get Bobby Abel on the show, man. I'm going to try to get him too. I'm going to try to see if I can get Bobby Abel on the show before it's all said and done. Big props to TJ. I appreciate that. Inevitable says, tell us all some facts about Brady's career. Chosen said, TJ, can I co-host the NFL draft with you if you do a show? Yeah, man. If we do a show, then I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. And I have the resources, and I have everything together. I was at my infancy, like, at the last draft. Like, if you notice, man, things kind of picked up, and the technology kind of changed for the State of the Saints podcast, like, right after that draft. Like, if you notice, like, that's when we start to, like, get better quality, you know what I'm saying, like, service, and start getting more interviews and all that kind of stuff. So we definitely got the resources now. So I definitely wouldn't mind that. I'm just gonna have some guests on the show, man. We're just not just me talking for about 2 or 3 hours on that show. Definitely gonna get my big brother EJ on the show. Probably try to see if I can get some guests, some former Saints to pass through, and we're gonna try to get it done, man. We're gonna try to make it exciting. But I tell you what, though, I got something planned, boy. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't win the Super Bowl, I got something planned out. I'm telling y'all, you will not want to miss the State of the Saints podcast if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, I got it all planned out right now. Y'all ain't gonna want to miss that. They better win. Tim, thank you very much for $5. Says, but for real, keep up the good work, Tim, man. You helped me through these last 4 Januaries as a Saints fan. SOTS for life. Tim, I appreciate that for the $5 Canadian, and you all helped me as well, man. Together we have made a very successful podcast, and the sky's the limit now, man. Like, the State of the Saints podcast is recognized. You know what I'm saying? Is recognized, and you get opportunities to be on other podcasts. People reach out to you. You get partnerships and stuff, and it's humbling. But I just love what I'm doing. You Brady fans ready for the beatdown? TJ gonna throw the Who Dat Nation a petty party, man. I'm telling y'all right now. I'm not gonna say nothing, Keith. But if they lose, you will not want to miss the State of the Saints podcast. I got it all planned out. I'm telling you, they better win. I think they're going to win. I really do. I really believe they're going to win. I really do. But if they don't, I'm telling y'all, you're not going to miss this. You are not going to want to miss the State of the Saints podcast if them clocks hit 0 and the Kansas City Chiefs are back-to-back champs. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Y'all check out Chat with Chosen on YouTube as well. That's chatting with Chosen, man. Chosen, go ahead while I'm talking right now. If you're still up in there, put your link inside of the chat, man. Y'all check out his podcast. He did episode 1, Off the Chains. He takes calls from different people. He talks about life problems. He talks about relationship problems. He talks about, just all type of different things, man. It is a open forum podcast. It is for you. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling happy, if you're feeling, you know what I'm saying, like in the middle, if you're consumed by what's going on in life, Chosen is there for you, man. So check it out, Chatting with Chosen. Also, the State of the Black and Gold podcast available with Aaron. Shouts out to Aaron out there with the State of the Black and Gold podcast. Big Q available. Deuce Wenham available. Got my boy Nas available. CB with the Who That Nation chat line. CB, Pretty Carly and crew. Man, so many different ones out there. Everett, the baddest sports show in the Deep South. Y'all check them out on Facebook. Him and Dank always going at it. Man, just great Saints commentary all around. And so many platforms out there, man. Y'all check them all out. You know, there's room for everybody out here. Everybody got their own lane. And I appreciate everybody out here going hard for the Saints. And thank you all for supporting the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, we are going to be sponsored by Manscaped. Got that Manscaped endorsement on yesterday. That is now official. We're going to be rolling out some Manscaped products. I'm going to be giving some stuff away. And also, man, going to be giving out some promo codes. As a matter of fact, I'll give out one right now. You go to manscaped.com and you put in the promo code State of Saints, you get 20% off. How good is that, right? But I'm also going to be giving away some stuff, man. So y'all be on the lookout for that, all right? So thank you all very much. Have a good and productive morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?